cousin was born at that routine postpartum checkup, my doctor asked how I felt. This is a tricky question for someone who's recently had a baby. I mean, I can't speak for anyone but myself, but somewhere between the how do and the you feel, I exploded all over this poor woman. Hormones, no sleep, indescribable fear, indescribable love, and where do you put all of this? That baby doesn't even like me! I told her. There was snot and Kleenex and breast milk all over the place. It was totally tragic. And I don't know what a boppy is. And they said to chart his poop, so is there like a spreadsheet for that or something? And then I have these aunts who keep wanting to bring me dinner, but then they ask about the baptism, and I don't even believe in God or the divine or anything. So can I still take their casseroles? This is all totally normal, my doctor said. She must have repeated that 15 times. Here's your paper robe, totally normal. Jump up on the table, totally normal. Routine ultrasound to check on a minor cyst, totally, oh. It's the single syllables that will change your life. Your dentist says, oops. Your pregnancy test says plus. Your gynecologist says, oh. Later, after some tests, we sat on opposite sides of her desk, and she explained that an ovary is roughly the size of a cherry tomato, and a cell the size of a grain of rice had grown into a tumor the size of a tangerine, which had swallowed my ovary. How do you react to news like that? When I look down the line of my life, there are these moments when my parents split up, when I had my first heartbreak, when I lost a job that I loved and I cried or panicked or locked myself in my room playing Smith's albums on repeat. Whatever, I reacted. But the day that my doctor told me I had a tumor, nothing. Not sitting there in her office, not later that night telling my husband, not walking into emergency surgery the next morning, nothing. Right up until I opened my eyes and she told me she'd got it. Everything was suddenly fine. One moment you're already dead, the next moment you're back at the office, and I cried and thanked her and drank my juice. After all of that, she said, you know, you're lucky you got pregnant. If it hadn't been for the ultrasound, we might not have caught it in time. In that moment, I knew exactly what I felt. I felt something. It was so close. Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm out on my dad's fishing boat in the middle of the Pacific, out there in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nothing. You can't tell where the water ends and where the sky begins. It is vast. It is still. It is something. Or for years, I lived in Humboldt Park, west at North and Kimball, and a few blocks from my apartment was this church. It was really small, not more than a storefront, but the singing that came out of that place was like nothing I'd ever heard. Every Sunday, I would go get coffee at Dunkin' Donuts and sit on the curb outside of that church. I never went inside. There are things that happen in a church that I know are not for me, but outside, I could have the parts that felt like something. Or my son is 4 years old now. He is awesome. He thinks he's Superman, which sounds really cute, except we live on the 3rd floor and he keeps trying to fly. Last week he stood at our balcony door in his red and blue costume, face pressed to the glass, and he said, "Mommy, let me out." I'll pull my arms way out wide. I'll fly out high into the air. And you know what I did then was check the lock. But what I realized is this: our children save us. They illuminate what we always thought we could be. They make us better than we ever could have imagined. My son really is Superman. Without him, I would have never had an ultrasound. Without him, the tangerine might have grown into a grapefruit. Without him, I might not be standing here, and for that, I will believe. You can call it God if you like. You can call it the divine. I call it a start.